Hello, I will be teaching how I draw the Dragon Ball face today. So to begin, I like to start with this brush Indigo. I make it pretty thick. I always start with a circle. A circle is the best place to start. Then a line down the middle. Then one line down the middle of that line, like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't do it perfect. No one really does it perfect that I've seen it. This is how I structure the face. So sometimes I'll do like a little ear thing right here. Maybe a little bit of a neck. I don't really do that all the time though. So then I start my next layer. You lower the opacity on that one, and I like to lower the size of my brush. So in the middle of it is where I would place the brow, like this. Then I like to smooth it out with a eraser tool, like that. When they're angry, you add more wrinkles to it, like that. We're going to draw an angry Goku face today, I think. So it's not going to be fully lined up, and that's fine. You can kind of rotate it, especially on Procreate, which is what I do it on. But it's important that I start right there. Then I go to the eyebrow, which connects from where we place that line. And this takes a little bit of trial and error, so no shame in resetting. But I like to make it one smooth motion, maybe not that big. With that right there. Maybe bigger, maybe smaller. I kind of vary. Then I like to make a notch out here at the back. Maybe add a little bit of then I connect the two. I like to keep it pretty thin, pretty thick, I mean. And then we can add this right there. Whoops. So I like to flatten it, sort of. Kind of helps me think about where I'm going to place stuff. Then we get to the eye, and it's one line right there, one line right there. You kind of have to guess where it kind of goes. I like to go from the notch that I placed down right there to show it. That's where I kind of like to place where the eye begins. And then I like to do a nice kind of rounded line, kind of not, but just like that. Then the pupil can just go right there. So there we have the beginning of our Dragon Ball head. Then we can add this, the little things beneath their eyes. Just like that. So there we have it so far. And next I do the nose. So the nose is a bit tricky for me. But I like to do it like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. And then you give it thickness in a little bit. So make it go lower, make the size go lower. Then you flatten that out. Line right there, line right there. And then we add the little bit of shadow that the Dragon Ball eyes have, noses have. Right there we have our nose. As you can see, it is a bit small. That's fine. So I would just raise that up. You don't have to do the lines. I just do that to kind of guide myself, sort of. But that's the mouth so far. I like to lower it down a bit more because when you're drawing an angry face, you have more wrinkles right here, sort of like that, to kind of show like how angry they are, because when you get angry, your face bunches up in the middle. Then we have the mouth. I like to go in for a more curved approach, like this, and then do one line right there. You can add some thickness to it. I don't normally flip it. I just. Now then I zoom out and I kind of look to see if it looks right. If it doesn't, then I'll distort it. Distorting is my favorite tool. And then we have the chin, which is just 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. Okay, so we kind of have the face itself kind of structured. You can go ahead and copy the eye, or just do what I said in reverse on the other side. That's what I do. I don't like to draw both eyes. Make sure it's kind of lined up, of course. What I do is for the mouth, I like to apply some extra pressure to the edges and the middle. Not the middle. I kind of like to take a lot away from the middle, like that. In my experience, it just makes it look more Dragon Ball. But that's just me. You can do whatever you want, of course. Next is, well, the face itself. So the face, I like to do this on a different layer, is just like this line right here that we made, and then we add the chin. Because guidelines help. That's what everything is. Make it a bit closer down, because Dragon Ball faces are a lot more closer to the chin. We do that. I like to make these smooth lines. Very smooth lines. I also like to distort it because I don't like to redo lines, honestly. It's kind of not fun. But I make it as close to the reference as possible. Always use references. Because there's always going to be someone better than you. Why not just use what their experiences have been to help you? I like to just copy this and then flip it over. Sometimes it's not fully one-to-one because I kind of started this at an angle. So there we have the kind of beginning of the Dragon Ball face. You can go in for more an angry approach by adding this extra line right there, which is just more of their forehead being bunched in. You could also add these lines right here. I like to do them a bit thinner though. And I only do that for really like evil guys. I don't do it for like Goku. Goku, I will sometimes do like up right here, just the wrinkle on his face. But only when he's like really mad, because it kind of looks weird if not. So now, then you can go ahead and kind of enlarge some of these proportions. The Dragon Ball face is kind of supposed to really fit really well, if that makes sense. The Dragon Ball face is very conservative in how it kind of has everything connected. Okay, so there we have kind of the structure of the Dragon Ball face. What I like to do is, since the Dragon Ball face is super angular, I like to kind of edge these out. Maybe just kind of bring it in a little bit more, you know? So we can turn the guideline off now. Looks pretty accurate. I like to connect them from here. Then is the ears. I like to just do one and then copy it, but you can do whatever you want. So I start right here, right there. It's a very angular shape, and it gets bigger when you're looking at it from a different viewpoint, but I'm not kind of just looking straight on. So the Dragon Ball face, it has the sort of ear lobes from here. There's a kind of a stair. I kind of call it like a stairway right here. This also leads into there, which leads into the ear hole itself. And then there's another sort of flap, I guess. I don't know what it's actually called. But that's very small, so we got to bring it up to scale, of course. Duplicate that. Send that over. I copied it at an angle, so it's not fully symmetrical, but it's fine. This is not the best face I've ever done. Not the worst either. So there's kind of the Dragon Ball face. They have like the neck muscles right here, and then the throat. Then you can kind of go in, add some like shading in there. The neck muscles itself are very rounded, sort of. They kind of round itself. Now we get onto the hair. So the hair is about right here. If we look back to this, it's about at the top of this area. And Goku's kind of starts like right here. He kind of starts closer to the middle of his face, but not entirely to the middle of his face. This is, I think, for most characters too. So we can keep that on. We had the hair strands. We're going to do them in Super Saiyan because I kind of gave him Super Saiyan eyes already. You just do one line right there. Line right there. Bump. Then it has that. Just like that. And then you can enlarge it because Goku's hair is pretty big. And then he has more of these, so you gotta trust the process here. That one bang of his is a lot bigger than all of his other ones, except for that one. His top two are pretty even, I would say. You know, you could just go and make it close to the reference as much as you want. I don't use a reference for this right now. Then you can go and just erase all your other little parts because the hair is covering it. Why would it show if the hair is covering it? Turn that off. It looks pretty good so far. You know, not the best, but not the worst. Now, you then, after you apply the hair, you can kind of see some mistakes that were made. Like that, I think, should be bigger. It's fine if I took some of the face. I can just go back, do that. Looks pretty good. They also have the traps. So for Goku's Super Saiyan hair, for grade 1, which is what I'm doing right now, he starts right there. You can kind of just do whatever you want. His hair is pretty crazy. This is not accurate to his hair, I don't think, but it's fine. We're having a good time, I hope. You kind of disconnect it. Yeah, I'll go out and round it later off for the final result that we have, but you know, it's pretty good shape. I like Goku's hair. Since he's in Super Saiyan 1, we can kind of add some. We don't need to add some hair frays or whatever, because he's not battle damage right now. So that's the Dragon Ball face. So I'm just going to apply a few changes, and we'll get back, because in Dragon Ball art, in art in general, you kind of want to fix your mistakes as you go along. You don't make as many the more you go on, but you know, I was kind of more focused on the commentary than the drawing itself. So I'll just go and apply some changes, and we will be right back. Alright, so this is kind of what I have after a couple minutes. It's not my best work at all. There's a lot of issues that I could fix, and if this was a more official drawing, I would go back and fix a lot of these mistakes, but I'm kind of just going to keep it like this for now. I don't really care that much. The end product. The point is the fundamentals we can recover. So this, sorry. So this point is the where the brow kind of connects. Eye, eye, not symmetrical. Nose, and the mouth. You can kind of make it whatever length you want it to be. I kind of go a bit smaller because that's kind of just the style of drawing I prefer. And then head up here. Uh, so another way to think about this is that they're about the same length in total. I have like two stages to it, and there. Once you connect both of them, that's kind of the length of the head. From right here is the hairline, right here is the eye line, and here is the chin line. Uh, so it's in total uh, two of these two lines. As I get better, I tend to do less of the circle and less guidelines. I used to do more eye guidelines, but now I don't do them anymore because I've gotten better at drawing Dragon Ball. I know this is not the best showing of that, but yeah. So this is kind of what we have. Now I'll go in depth later on things like hair. That will be one that I will do later on. Clothes, the muscles themselves, because I mean it's Dragon Ball. You gotta have good muscles. But yeah, this is the finished product. We can apply some color to this later, and I actually will right now, so I'll be right back for that. Okay, so after a couple more minutes, here's the color I have set down. It's not the best I have done, of course, you know. Uh, I'm not too disappointed in it. Not my best work. I'll flash some of that right now. This is what we get after a couple minutes. I'll go in more depth on color later and how I approach it, but yeah. So following the fundamentals, we have gotten a pretty good face down, in my opinion. I would say so. Uh, but yeah. So in total, the changes I made from the from my commentary was that I made Goku's face a bit taller because Goku's a pretty tall guy, 5'9", pretty tall, and I made his hair equal out more. One thing I like to do as well is kind of just point out that my flaws. This is more of a practice piece. Not really anything super serious. Not like my typical drawings. Um, but like right there, right there, right there, right there. There's a lot of issues, and we're all kind of growing. That's the whole point of this. And I'm bringing my 2 cents. I'm trying to help other people grow. Um, but this is what I have so far. This is the final result of my face anatomy tutorial, I guess. Um, I could share some more tricks right here, like One way I figure out where the face is going is from the ear, whoops, from the ear to the bottom of the chin. I do that, kind of like the cheekbones, I would say. And that helps me kind of place where the mouth should be, which is about right here, chin right here, nose right there, eyes right here. And then the ears are kind of high up, but then I like to just thin it out because, this is Goku. He's a pretty tall guy. Said that before already. But yeah, that is my face tutorial. I hope you liked it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be posting my drawing processes on here. And I hope you will join me in my next tutorial. I'll probably do a side angle face, not the full side profile, just the side angle. So yeah, thank you. Oh, and always, sign your work. Whatever. Thank you.